This is Valley News Live at 4.
Fargo police say they're still actively monitoring for any possible threats and suspicious behavior in the metro after rioters stormed the Capitol in Washington, D.C. yesterday afternoon. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley spoke with police today. She joins us live now with what she learned. Bailey.
Yeah, Callie, Fargo police say that the statement released by the city last night was more so done as a way to relieve the many worries that people in the community had about the possibility of violence breaking out here at home. As Callie, it was just 7 months ago when we saw very similar actions taken by rioters in downtown Fargo.
It's not likely that it's going to happen here in Fargo, and a lot of people say it's just sleepy little Fargo, but we thought that too back in May, and what was a largely peaceful protest ended up not being very peaceful at the end.
Schindeldecker says the department remains on high alert tonight, but says there is nobody on standby. She says as of tonight, there is not a single threat that is made towards the department or the city. Live in Fargo tonight, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
All right, thanks, Bailey. And coming up tonight on Valley News Live at 5, we'll have more reaction from the department. And here's a look at today's top 4 at 4. 26 people have been indicted in what U.S. Attorney Drew Wrigley calls an unprecedented drug bust. Wrigley says the investigation, Operation Blue Prairie, has been going on for years. It stretches across 3 Native American reservations and involves oxycodone dealers from Detroit. Wrigley says there's evidence suggesting tens of thousands of pills worth $2.5 million were transported into North Dakota alone. And charges won't be filed against a former Fargo police officer who went undercover during a protest without permission. Deputy Chief Todd Osmundson resigned following the May 30th gathering that turned violent. According to the Cass County State Attorney, the decision not to file charges was made after an investigation by the Minnesota BCA. Critics say Osmundson should not have been mingling with protesters, even though he was off duty and not in uniform. And the man Fargo police say is behind a string of vehicle thefts last month is now in jail. 24-year-old Lucas Kohlberg was arrested on Saturday on 3 counts of car theft and robbery with the threat of a weapon. He carried out that robbery using a stolen vehicle that was left unlocked, with the key still inside. Fargo police say they worked with the state parole board to get Kohlberg's probation revoked. Detectives are looking into more cases to see if he was involved in any other crimes. And a man serving life for the murders of 2 U.S. Marshals in a small North Dakota town nearly 4 decades ago wants to be released from prison after testing positive for COVID-19. 67-year-old Scott Fall has been in federal custody since 1983. He's in the federal prison in Sandstone, Minnesota. Gordon Cole and Cole's son, Yori, were involved in the shootout when law enforcement officers in Stutsman County, resulting in the death of U.S. Marshal Kenneth Muir and Deputy Marshal Robert Cheshire. And that wraps up today's top 4 at 4. Now let's get a first look at our weather with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Hey, Hutch.
Hi, Callie. Not a lot has changed in our weather. Our focus has changed to fog, and boy, it's been thick out there. The fog does continue, and for some of us, visibilities are under a mile from Hallock through Grand Forks and here in the Southern Valley, as well as the James River Valley. It is a little better off to the east, with the exception of that I-94 corridor near Alexandria, where we have some reduced visibility reported in Wadena as well. Fog advisory for the dark counties you see there: southeast North Dakota, most of Minnesota, and all the way down the I-29 corridor into Sioux Falls. Speaking of that Southern Valley and the I-29 corridor, you're looking at a live shot from our camera out at the Dakota Magic Casino, showing the reduced visibility. Here in Fargo, steady temperatures, low 20s, light to moderate winds from the south will continue to keep this fog a problem. Overnight, we could see some areas of freezing drizzle and snowflakes. I'll have hour-by-hour details on where I expect the best chance of that, and we'll talk about if there's a chance of seeing some sunshine anytime again in the very near future. Callie, I'll have all that in a few minutes.
Thanks so much, Hutch. And more security measures are in place at the U.S. Capitol, a day after supporters of President Trump violently stormed the complex. 4 people died, including 1 woman who was shot by police. Deborah Alfarone has the latest from the Capitol.
A day after the assault at the U.S. Capitol, the Army says a 7-foot non-scalable fence is being constructed and additional National Guard members will arrive by this weekend.
The security measures will be in place for no less than the next 30 days.
The FBI and local police are asking for help finding those behind the violence.
We have collected numerous images of persons of interest that we are asking the community to help us identify.
Rioters stormed the building Wednesday. Some pro-Trump protesters breached the Senate chamber. One sat at a desk inside Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office.
The government did this to us. We were normal, good, law-abiding citizens, and you guys did this to us.
Police fired at a woman who tried to climb through a window. She later died. The mayor of D.C. wants answers.
We have some work to do to find out what happened to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Today it's quiet here at the Capitol. 150 additional National Guard members are maintaining a perimeter around the complex.
There will be 6,200 guardsmen in total by the weekend here.
Congress was in the process of confirming President-elect Joe Biden's Electoral College win at the time of the riot. Lawmakers took cover anywhere they could.
Shots are being fired inside the Capitol chamber.
A New York Congressman Tom Suozzi captured the chaos on his cell phone.
I started to leave the chamber and started to hear pop, pop, pop.
Former Attorney General William Barr, an ally of President Trump, issued a stunning rebuke, saying orchestrating a mob to pressure Congress is inexcusable. The president's conduct yesterday was a betrayal of his office and supporters. In a statement, President Trump said there will be an orderly transition on January 20th. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
3 others died of medical emergencies on the Capitol grounds. More than 60 people have been arrested so far. And Facebook has extended its ban on President Trump's account indefinitely. CEO Mark Zuckerberg announcing the move on his Facebook page this morning. This comes after a mob of Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol yesterday, just after the president made a speech urging them to go to the Capitol. Zuckerberg's statement says, in part, "We believe the risks of allowing the president to continue to use our service during this period are simply too great. Therefore, we are extending the block, and we have placed on his Facebook and Instagram accounts indefinitely." Strong words today from Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi following Wednesday's mob of violence at the U.S. Capitol. Speaker Pelosi is calling for the immediate removal of President Trump before his term ends on January 20th, demanding that Vice President Pence invoke the 25th Amendment, or the House will move forward with impeachment.
I join the Senate Democratic leader in calling on the Vice President to remove this president by immediately invoking the 25th Amendment. If the Vice President and the Cabinet do not act, the Congress may be prepared to move forward with impeachment.
The 25th Amendment says if a president becomes unable to perform his job, he can be forcibly removed and the vice president takes over. In order to do that, the vice president would need to agree, as well as the majority of the cabinet members. And coming up on Valley News Live at 4, the world was watching as violent protesters stormed the U.S. Capitol yesterday. How our allies and our adversaries are reacting. Next.
Next, it's been another foggy day, as this time lapse illustrates here in the FM area. This is from our tower outside the studios. We'll have details on, more clouds, more fog, and a few flakes right after this.